To read yours first? Sure thing, Mr. Bean, Arnie answered. Things Mr. Bean can do with me instead of eating me. The first one was, do you need a ballroom dance partner? No, I don't dance. You could use a personal fitness trainer. I'd get too sweaty. How about a portrait painter? Oh, heavens no. Would you like me to entertain at your parties? I don't like to throw parties. I could be your chauffeur, but you can't see over the steering wheel. I'd make a great bodyguard. Who could you protect me from, a cookie? Alrighty, Mr. Bean, let's hear what you came up with. Okie dokie, he replied. I just know you'll like some of these. Things I can do with Arnie instead of eating him. I could use you as a pincushion. Oh, that's too painful. How about an air freshener for my car? How about not? Would you like to be a picture frame? I don't imagine so. I need a new bowling ball. Well, don't look at me. You'd make a fine paperweight. Well, that's pretty boring. Then what about a doorstop? Try again. But there was nothing else on Mr. Bean's list. They were both completely out of ideas. Arnie and Mr. Bean were exhausted. They felt terribly disappointed. After a few minutes of awkward silence, Mr. Bean finally spoke. I'm sorry, Arnie, but it's clear that we can't agree on anything for you to do around here. This is difficult for me to say, but I think it would be best if you found another home. I know, said Arnie, fighting back tears. I'll just be on my way then. Is it all right if I keep this napkin to pack up all my loose sprinkles? Of course, Mr. Bean replied sadly. As soon as I get a job, I'll pay you back the money you spent on me. That's not necessary, Arnie. Arnie shook Mr. Bean's hand and thanked him for his kindness. Mr. Bean opened the door, and as Arnie left, he paused and said, I guess donuts really are only good for eating, aren't they? They both waved goodbye, and Arnie was gone. Mr. Bean stood in the window and watched as Arnie walked away. He walked past the flower beds, the mailboxes, and the apartment manager's office. He passed his tennis court, the swimming pool, and the clubhouse. But when Arnie reached the No Dogs Allowed sign at the end of the driveway, Mr. Bean suddenly came up with a new idea. Arnie, 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 wait up! Yelled Mr. Bean as he ran after him. Arnie turned back and stopped. When Mr. Bean caught up with him, he was out of breath. I can't believe I didn't think of this earlier, Mr. Bean panted. Arnie, I've always wanted a dog and could never have one because they're not allowed here. But there's no sign that says no donuts allowed. Arnie perked up when he realized that Mr. Bean was thinking. Would you like to take walks and play fetch? Mr. Bean asked excitedly. You bet I would. Can you do tricks like rolling over? Rolling over? Look at me. I was made for rolling over. Well then, there's only one thing left to ask, Arnie. Will you be my donut dog? Oh, Mr. Bean, I would love to be your donut dog. From that moment on, Arnie and Mr. Bean were inseparable. Arnie liked being a donut dog even better than he liked being a donut. He went through a short phase of chewing on furniture and barking at the mailman, but after a crash course in obedience school, he graduated first in his class. Everywhere the two of them went, people would stop to pet Arnie. No one had ever seen a donut dog before. Arnie and Mr. Bean had so much fun together. Arnie was the best pet Mr. Bean could have actually hoped for, and Mr. Bean was Arnie's best friend. Alright, what a great book today, guys. I love you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed the book, and I'll talk to you later. Love you, boys.